Welcome to UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna Blasi. I'm Dr. Jenna. I spent years crafting ways to help women thrive, and I want to help you do the same. On this podcast, we dive deep into health at every level, focusing on the mind, the body, and the spirit. This is where real conversations meet transformational wellness. We'll be talking about all the things that truly matter, from nutrition and fitness to lifestyle, mindset, and personal development. Plus, the real deal on managing stress and navigating menopause. So if you're ready to elevate your health journey with authentic, transformative insights, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to UPLEVEL. Today, I want to dive into what is your next best move? What is your next best move, and how do you know what it is? I have aimed to make this month of June applicable for you, giving you action steps of how do you actually start to move the needle. And so we've looked at consistency, listening to your body, actually solving the right problem. And so sometimes, when we look at a month like this, you might have grabbed onto something and ran with it, or you might be nodding along going, yep, that's me. But what do I actually do first? And this is not likely a you problem. This is an information problem. And so today I want to address that, because the most important health move you can make is not the perfect one. It's the next right one. And don't even put a lot of judgment on right. Like even that, I probably shouldn't say that, because you can't do it wrong. But the answer does lie within you. And so I want to break down, how do we figure out what is your next move, your next best move? So number one, what should I do is probably not the ideal question. All right. This question can actually keep us stuck, because what should I do assumes a universal answer, and there isn't one. That's why I even corrected myself with the best right move, because a lot of us go through life afraid of making mistakes. We go through life afraid of making the wrong decision, and it actually keeps us stuck and we don't move forward. If you look at successful people and you track what they do, they make movement. They make moves, they make decisions. Every decision that, let's say, doesn't work out the way they expected is information. They don't look at it as a failure. They don't take it as an identity of I failed. It's just information. Course correct. Like the rocket that first went to the moon, it failed its way to the moon. Off track, course correct. Off track, course correct. So the better question is, what is the highest leverage thing that I can address right now? And remember, the highest leverage is not likely the most interesting, the most complicated, the most social media, Instagram worthy. All right. Think of a four-legged stool. If one of those legs is missing, or one of those legs is shorter than the other, the whole thing wobbles. And even if you're missing two, okay, then it's falling over. But if let's start with the three first. So you have three, you can polish the other three legs all you want, but until you actually address the short leg, nothing is stable. So your next best move is almost always that shortest leg or that missing leg. So let's say there's two missing, because I know that there's some of you that maybe you have one leg of your stool. When I do that first episode where I broke down the 4 pillars of health through Ayurveda, some of you may only have one leg. So as we go through this, if that's you, or 2 legs, and you're like, well, which one? I'm going to give you some questions to ask to figure it out, but you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. And I would say the answer is within you, and you already know. So here's 3 questions that you can utilize to figure out or find your next, I'm going to say right move, with the caveat that there's no wrong. All right. You're not going to do this wrong. So most of you already know, as I said, it's within you. So question number 1, what is the thing you keep skipping over or avoiding? The thing maybe every practitioner has mentioned, the thing you keep reading about, but you keep going around. I remember this woman years ago. She used to go, I live in Sedona, so a lot of people like to visit psychic, have psychic readings and whatnot. And she said she would just go from psychic to psychic, waiting for the one to give her the answer she wanted to hear. So somewhere within us, we know the thing we're avoiding or skipping. So common ones could be sleep, protein, water, actual stress management. This is the one, it's like, oh, I'm doing all the things, but we're not really addressing the stress or the past trauma that we're carrying around. It could be actually working with the right practitioner. Maybe there's, a practitioner that your friends or family have told you about, and you don't really want to commit or take those action steps, but it's not likely supplements on top of chronic stress. So we skip the obvious because it feels too boring to be the answer. But the truth is, the obvious thing that feels like it couldn't possibly be the answer usually is. Question number 2, what changed right before you started feeling this way? That's a question we have on our intake forms. When did this start? And sometimes what I've found is when people come to us with a constellation of symptoms, under the start question, there is usually like an event or a time period. It is often after a stressful period or after grief or something similar. But occasionally, if they have, let's say, because we ask people's top 4 concerns at the beginning of our intake, it might be this one started at this time and this one started this, but usually there's a thread and it almost always leads somewhere. So symptoms don't appear out of nowhere. Something shifted. Job change, grief or loss, medication change, perimenopause, a season of chronic stress, a relationship change, sometimes even a new house, because like someone could move into a house and there's mold or there's all types of new construction that they're reacting to, new furniture. So it could be obvious big things. It could be more subtle things like, oh, we moved into a new house. I didn't even think of that. So trace back to the thread and see where it leads. So I can think of so many people in my practice who are convinced that they have a complex hormonal disorder, that nothing's going to help them. They're exhausted, they're gaining weight, they're not sleeping. But when we ask, where did this start? They realize it began when they went back to work full time after 2 years of caring for a sick mother, grief, stress period, cortisol gets disrupted, sleep debt, etc. And a lot of you are very self-aware. And so you might know, right? Often it's not a mystery, but the good news is it's solvable. It's solvable. But if you're skipping this question, don't. Because we skip the question because we'd rather have a complicated answer than a simple one. And I want to address briefly here the identity of illness. Some of us have been sick, some of you have been sick for so long that there's an identity there. You feel like you'll never get better. You've been given autoimmune diagnosis and it's become part of your identity. And so we'd almost rather have that complicated answer because then we don't have to worry about being disappointed. Well, if I have hope that I can get better, I'll be disappointed. But the world changes because of hope. Evolution in awareness, in technology, evolution is maybe not advancement in technology, comes from somebody having a vision, somebody wanting or envisioning something more. Don't ever lose that. I have seen very, very sick people regain their health. If one person can do it, you can do it. But let's look at where it started so we can address that root transition that occurred. Question number 3, if you could only do one thing for your health this week, what would it be? Not the most exciting one, that's usually a distraction. Not the most comprehensive one, that could maybe stop you in your tracks. The one you already know. Deep down, most of you know your next move. You know it. But you're hoping someone, I don't know, is going to give you permission to do something more exciting or more interesting or make excuses for not doing. So you already know, give yourself permission to do it. Trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself or want to give yourself permission, maybe let me do it. I'm giving you permission to trust yourself. Trust that instinct. And again, it could be implementing something you're avoiding. Could be working with somebody that keeps coming back into your radar. I've spent years cultivating making quicker decisions, and I know when I'm led to like a mentor that's going to help me get to the next step. So these could be your own individual moves. This could be support. This could be getting that personal trainer that you know is going to help you really look at what you need and assess you, or getting that health coach, or getting a mindset mentor that's going to help you see those blind spots, or just something as simple as starting to eat a better breakfast. And so I don't want to tell you what it is, but you know within you. So now let's talk about what gets in the way. If you know, what gets in the way of you actually doing it? Because there are three main patterns that will derail the process. So let's name them. I'm going to name them first, and then we'll go back and we'll go through them. So three main patterns that are going to derail the process. And these are all like mindset and behavior patterns. One, the more information reflex. Two, waiting to feel ready. And three, trying to do everything at once. Okay, so now, to distill this down to three, obviously, we could go back to, if you've lost all hope, then you should probably start with your imagination, with your vision of what's possible. Get inspired. When I share testimonials with people, I tell them I'm not sharing these case studies. I'm not sharing these testimonials because it's about me or about Andrea. It's about you seeing yourself in someone else, getting that hope back that actually propels you to take action. Because the people who've lost hope are not even like, it's a why bother. Right? So I would just add that in here. But let's talk about three patterns of like, you have hope, you want to get better, but you're not doing anything yet. You're not taking action. So number one, the quote unquote more information reflex. When we feel stuck, we think we need to learn more, gather more information, another episode, another book, another test, another friend that you want to ask. What do you think? What do you think about this? Most of the time, you have enough information. What you need is a decision. All right, all of the information in the world never leads to transformation. It's action. It's implementation. So what's it going to take? You need to make a decision. And I have an episode on decisions. Such an important topic. I dedicated an entire episode to decision making. So many of us are just gather. I need more information. Well, let me try this person's information. Oh, no, that wasn't right. So make a decision. Trust your gut. Where are you being led? Make a decision. I tell people when I give talks, I'm like, I'm going to give you, as much information as I can. But if you don't make a decision to do something by the end and actually act on that, whether it's booking a call with us or booking a call with somebody else that, they've been thinking about, or take some type of action, then I haven't done my job. Because you know how many notebooks most of us have in our closets of classes and webinars and things that we've gone to? How often do you go open those? All right. Number two, waiting to feel ready. This comes to like the indecisive piece. Indecision is a form of procrastination. And procrastination, as Bob Proctor used to say, is the killer of dreams. Waiting to feel ready. I'm going to wait until life calms down, until after this trip, until the kids are out of school. Ready is not a feeling. Ready is a decision. Do it before you're ready. You don't wait to feel ready. You decide, and the readiness follows. And my mentors have always taught me, do it before you're ready. Do it now, do it now, do it now. Do it before you're ready. So we're never really ready. Like when you get married, you probably still have some reservations. When we're about to have kids, especially the first one, we don't know what we're doing. We just know what we want. We make a decision, we're going after it. How many of us are truly have everything lined up for that to be the ultimate success? I was in residency between year 1 and year 2 when I got pregnant with my son. I was making $27,000 a year, living in a 3rd floor walk-up apartment in New Haven, Connecticut. Was I ready? I wanted a child, but I didn't know what my next job was. I didn't know where the money was going to come from. We didn't know, but you do it before you're ready and, you figure it out. So don't let that stop you. Remember, it's a decision. Interesting that 1 and 2 both tie back to a decision. Number 3, trying to do everything at once. This is an absolute recipe for paralysis because when we are trying to do too much, then we can't do anything at all. This is the Monday overhaul syndrome, the new diet. So it's Monday. I'm going to have a new diet. I'm going to exercise every day. I'm going to fix my sleep. I'm going to reduce my stress. I'm going to start my supplements. I'm going to meditate starting Monday. All right. Monday comes completely overwhelming. That's way too many things and nothing happens. How many times have you had this pattern? And that's one of the things I struggle with this podcast. I want to give you all information. I want you to grab those pearls, but more importantly, I want you to take action on something. I don't want you to get into an overwhelm of information. And if you're not where you want to be and you feel like you're doing everything right, what is that next piece? What is that next piece? Because one thing done consistently is worth more than 10 things done once, right? Bruce Lee, he used to say or said, I fear not the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. So a guy who's done 10,000 different kicks, he's done all types of things one time. Right? How many things have you tried and do a little here and do a little there and throwing spaghetti at the wall versus the person who has practiced and mastered one kick 10,000 times? One thing done consistently is worth more than trying to do 10 things that you do once or twice. And this is that all or nothing thinking. Again, go back and listen to that podcast, all or nothing. All or nothing is the enemy of all of this. There's one next best move. Determine what it is and take action on it. So to close, you don't need more information. You need your next right move. Now, obviously, like as my podcast goes along, I'm going to discuss different topics and y'all can reach out and I'd like to know more about this and more about that. But this month is about application. We're going into summer. Kids are out of school. If you have kids, you're maybe traveling. You don't need more information. You need strategy. All right. So right now you need your next move, just one, the one that's been sitting there waiting for you to stop skipping it. Is it managing your stress? Is it getting to bed earlier? Is it eating less processed food? Is it getting a mentor? Is it getting the right doctor to help you actually look at your labs and instead of just throwing a bunch of supplements and medications, actually figure out what your whole picture maybe looks like? Which, by the way, I want to speak quickly to a patient who had a complex health history. She had chronic fatigue. She had fibromyalgia. She had a lot of pain. She had low energy from, chronic fatigue from all of it. She'd been on pain meds. Some of you, if you've been to my webinar, have heard this story of Heather. She'd been on pain meds for 20 to 25 years. She was menopausal and she couldn't sleep because of the pain. And she wanted to be able to hike with her partner, but she was tired. She also had some weight to release, but that was the least of her issues. Now, she could have easily stayed in a funk and felt that nothing would help her because those are chronic health conditions. They last for years. She'd been on pain meds since her 20s, but she didn't. She didn't lose hope, right? She took those steps and chose to move forward, and be seen, so this is an example of if you're having trouble sifting through the information, working with someone who can help you do that, working with a team or with a practitioner who can provide a strategy, not just have you continue to just try a bunch of things and throw spaghetti at the wall. And so she released weight. She got her energy back within the first month or two of working together. She got off her pain meds for the first time in 25 years. She started hiking with her partner because she was sleeping. She was feeling better. She had more energy, less pain, able to hike. And one of my favorite parts of her story is she ended up going back to school because she was so inspired. So in her case, there was a little information lacking in how to address, but it was really about the strategy of being seen as a whole person and what is the first thing and how do we come up with a stepwise plan. And any great plan, any great strategy starts with step number one. It's not about huge steps. It's about tiny steps. Success is a series of small steps stacked up over time. And so with Heather, she was like, oh my gosh, I want to go back to school because I want to help other people. Everybody should know this information. But it wasn't just about the information. It was about the action she took. So that's where, information is only helpful if it leads us to action. Because she could have come to my webinar. She could have had her discovery call and just gathered a bunch of information and never actually taken action on it. And so you know within you where to go next. Okay, so here's your action step that I want you to look at. I am going to say as a generalization, you don't need more information because information just leads us to sit and think, oh, let me process all of this. Let me think about things more. You need to move. You need your next right move. Just one. The one that's been sitting there waiting for you to stop skipping it. So tonight, not Monday, I want you to answer these 3 questions. Write them down. Answer these 3 questions. Number 1, what am I skipping over? What keeps calling out to me? What do I keep seeing over and over and ignoring? Where have I been led? The opportunities are all around us. They're all around us. We have to be present and calm enough to recognize them and then to take action on them. So number 1, what am I skipping over? Number 2, what changed before I started feeling this way? I know some of you it's after a surgery. Some of you it's after a transition, like hormonal transition, like menopause, right? What changed before I started feeling this way? That's the thread. If it was a stressful event, maybe you're going to work with someone to release trauma from your body. If it was, so anyway, tracing that back and then opening yourself up. And, one other thing I would say is you can also ask the question, and number 3 is going to simplify it. But number 2, what changed before I started feeling this way? Actually, let me give you number 3 first, and then I'll elaborate. Number 3, if I could only do one thing for my health this week, what would it be? If I could only do one thing for my health this week, what would it be? And so if you got an answer for number 2, what changed before I started feeling this way, that feels complex, like, well, yeah, it's ever since my surgery, it's ever since my hysterectomy, it's ever since menopause, you still can ask the question, if I could only do one thing for my health this week, what would it be? The answer will still be there. Even if the origin of when things started feels complex, feels like there's a lot to it, still ask the question because the answer is there, because the answer still always lies in the next thing. The next thing could be get a therapist. I don't know, right? It could be I need to, start doing yoga. I mean, again, there are so many episodes on things you can do. But when we open ourselves to, the answer is always there. So when we open ourselves up to it and we're present and we're calm, the answer can come through. And so let's say it feels really complex. Still ask, if I could only do one thing for my health this week. But you could say, if something is complex, okay, what are, you know what? No, I'm not even going to say that because that's going to complicate it. I want to keep it super simple. If I could only do one thing, it could even be, what is my best one thing to begin to turn this around? What's my next step? All right, then do it. Do that one thing. All right, let's finish with that. Then do that one thing. Not perfectly, not completely, just begin. All right, momentum doesn't come before action. It comes from action. It comes from action. Bob Proctor used to say, start doing the thing to have the energy to do the thing. We're like waiting. We got to just do. And that's what this whole month has been about, application. So thank you all so much for joining. If you loved this, like us, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, share it with a friend so I can get all of these messages out to more people. Always so grateful spending this time, and I will see you in July. Thank you for joining me on this episode of UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step in your health journey, one that nourishes not just your body, but your mind and spirit as well. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's episode, please leave a review. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving. And remember, true wellness is a journey, and you are on the right path.